was told why the case was being discontinued. This is some big secret that is being kept between Tradewind Citrus and Nepa, a government entity. Now, anything can go like that. I want you to think about what we're saying, Anything can really, who writes these scripts is what we have to ask ourselves. Anything at all can go like that? Have the people at Nepa lost their collective minds? I know the minister with responsibility for this agency wants the entire country to believe that he knew nothing of this. That's what they're telling us. They didn't know anything of this. And listen to this other kicker. So let me just finish reading the news story and then highlight that other shocking point. To the shock of many environmentalists, Nepa further disclosed that the terms of the arrangement were confidential. It's understood that the arrangement was not brought to the attention of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, nor the portfolio minister. Now the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the portfolio minister, Matthew Samuda, wants us to believe that they did not know anything of the sort concerning this matter. That's what they want us to believe. I want you to understand that this Nepa issue is a big deal. It is a big deal, and we shouldn't lose sight of that. And I'm going to hopefully try to help to make the case to you as to why this is a big deal. The first report we have is a rap from Ruby and Williams. And it was labeled as a betrayal of the people. That's how the environmental advocates have described the decision by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, to withdraw criminal charges. Listen to the details of this story. They have decided to withdraw a government agency that is funded by taxpayers' money, decided to withdraw criminal charges against Tradewind Citrus Limited over a 2023 oil spill in the Rio Cobra in St. Catherine that affected Jamaicans. The charges were formally dropped in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Wednesday after both parties announced they had reached an agreement. The presiding judge dismissed the case after being informed that NEPA wanted to discontinue proceedings. As you hear in this report from Ruby and Williams, the terms of the settlement have not been disclosed to the public.
In a statement on Thursday, two environmental groups condemned NEPA's action and expressed deep disappointment at the agency's decision to withdraw the charges against Tradewind Citrus Limited. CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, says the decision made without explanation or transparency is incomprehensible. She notes that the lack of transparency erodes public trust and sends a message that polluters can negotiate their way out of accountability. The December 2023 oil spill devastated fishing communities in St. Catherine. NEPA confirmed on December 15, 2023, that a malfunctioning boiler at the old Jamaica beverage plant, owned and operated by Tradewind Citrus, was the source of a spill that was first observed in the river on December 11. NEPA responded with an enforcement notice and promised further legal action. Dr. Rodriguez Moody says NEPA has failed to protect the people. She says the decision sets a dangerous precedent that trivializes environmental violations and prioritizes corporate interests over the health of natural resources and justice for impacted Jamaicans. Kestonat Gordon, representing Friends of the Rio Cobra, echoed similar sentiments. He says NEPA owes the public answers as the decision undermines justice and leaves the community to suffer the consequences of pollution of a major river. The environmental groups are calling for NEPA's reasons for discontinuing the case and the disclosure of the details of the settlement. They are also calling for the strengthening of environmental laws and stricter penalties for polluters. The groups are urging the government to conduct a comprehensive review of NEPA's enforcement practices and decision-making processes. The environmental advocates stress that the case is not just about the Rio Cobre, but about safeguarding Jamaica's environmental future. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Thank you very much. Now, in the meantime, the Nationwide News understands that Minister with responsibility for the environment, that's Matthew Samuda, has requested a full briefing from Nepa regarding its deal to drop criminal proceedings against Tradewinds Citrus Limited over the December 2023 oil spill in the Rio Cobre. Sources close to the matter suggest the minister expects that information no later than that this was reported yesterday, but it said this evening. So I wonder if the minister is in receipt of that information and if he is prepared to join us and to let us know what is going on over there at Nepa. Tradewinds Citrus Limited was charged with breaches of the Wildlife Protection Act following an oil spill on December 11, 2023. Nepa said the incident resulted in a fish kill. The environmental agency said its investigations found that the oil spill in the Bogwalk area was coming from a malfunctioning boiler from the Old Jamaica beverage plant. Now, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, provided Nepa with a fiat to prosecute the matter. That means they would go to court and lead the prosecution of this matter. However, on Wednesday, Nepa told the court that no prosecution would be pursued, having arrived at a deal with the company. To the shock of many environmentalists and well-thinking Jamaicans as well, I might add. Nepa further disclosed that the terms of the arrangement were confidential. So I want you to walk with me slowly through these bushes and through this murky mess that Nepa has caused. Now, they've decided that they're not going to proceed with the criminal case. Not a civil case, listeners, a criminal case against this company that caused, as they stood accused, an oil spill into the Rio Cobre. And then they've decided, a public company that is paid with taxpayers' money, they have decided that the reasoning and the points of agreement that led to the discontinuance of this case are to be kept from view of the public. And I'm not certain if you were with us last evening while I stood in and co-hosted Nationwide at 5. Dr. Goff, a noted advocate, attorney at law, said that not even the court was told why the case was being discontinued. This is some big secret that is being kept between Tradewinds Citrus and Nepa, a government entity. Now, anything can go like that. I want you to think about what we're saying, Continue the proceedings as the parties had reached a confidential settlement. What is this confidential settlement? How can a government entity discontinue a criminal matter and then the reasonings, the reasoning behind that is confidential? How can this settlement be confidential? Dr. Rodriguez Moody says transparency is needed as NEPA failed to protect the people. I'd love to hear some legal minds weighing in on that. I wonder if the court should have been way more judicious in accepting, not even asking for the details of why it was being discontinued. I'm not certain. I'm not an attorney at law. I don't know how these things work. So I'd love to hear from legal minds concerning this matter. If the court could have pressed a bit more for what occasioned this discontinuance, that agreement, the details of it, even the broad parameters of the agreement to understand why the matter was being discontinued. It's criminal what has happened at Nepa, and by criminal I don't mean a breaking of the law. It's senseless. For the life of me, I cannot wrap my mind around what could have occasioned this decision. I'm not suggesting that the details of the agreement are not sound, because we don't know what those are. But this decision to enter into a confidential arrangement to discontinue a criminal matter, how can that make any proper sense at all? And quite frankly, the minister says he wasn't made that well. It is being reported to us that the minister nor the ministry didn't know. If they knew, action should be taken against them. And the CEO and the board should not retain their positions if a worthwhile explanation can't be afforded on this matter. The details ought to be made public, and they should be made public with dispatch. And if after we've heard from the Nepa CEO and the board, and what they're offering to us isn't wholesome, then both the CEO and the board should be relieved of their duties. An example needs to be made on this matter. There's no way we can allow such a dangerous precedent to be set, that state entities who ought to be protecting the people who pay their salaries can decide that they want to enter into confidential agreements to discontinue criminal prosecution. All of us should be outraged by this, Every last one of us should be outraged by this. And if the explanation, because I think we should be given an explanation, and if that explanation isn't worthwhile, the CEO, Leonard Francis, who is the chairman of the board, Nora, have you found that out as yet for me, please? And the chairman of the board and all the other members of the board need to resign if this explanation that is going to be forthcoming does not make proper sense. All of them should go.